The next session at Xsolla's Developer Summit at GDC 2022 is Game of Funds, Success is Coming. Justin Berenbaum is the General Manager of Xsolla's Funding Club, and Lily Goldner is Xsolla's Business Development Manager of Funding and Investment.
Hello everyone and good afternoon GDC. Welcome to Game of Fun, Success is Coming. I am Lily Goldner, the mic. I'm Lily Goldner, Business Development Manager of Funding and Investment at Xsolla Funding Club. And I have to say it is very interesting and new to be talking to a room of live people instead of just floating screens on my, or floating heads on my screen. So I'm very, very glad to see that you all came out here today. I know it's going to be a really, really busy week for everybody, so I'm very thankful you all came out here today because we have an excellent talk planned for you and a really wonderful fireside chat. Yes, I should probably get the little clicker that lets me do things. So now at Xsolla Funding Club, we've shared tales of slaying presentations, conquering investors, and strategies on how to bring and attract more funding to your game. Today, we're bringing you insights directly from a successful publisher and developer relationship. Having survived the entire funding journey, they're ready to regale us with their tales and experiences that help them to succeed. So without further ado, let's welcome our moderator to the floor, my esteemed colleague and General Manager of Xsolla Funding Club, Justin Berenbaum.
Esteemed might be a little too much, but thanks for having me, Lily.
Yes. I hope you haven't had too many ragers this week yet.
No, I've gotten my rest. I've been a good boy. Thanks for bringing me up. I'm actually going to shut up because we have two people that I'm way more hearing from than myself, so we'll let you finish and then go.
All right, thank you very much, Justin. So let's start bringing our guests on. From Raw Fury, let's hear it for co-founder David Martinez. Thanks for coming. And from Massive Damage Games, please welcome CEO and co-founder Ken Seto. I know you had a grueling trip of about an hour to get in, David, but I hope your flight was great.
The jet lag's killing me. I came all the way from the outer sunset. It was like a 25-minute Uber ride, so yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for making the struggle.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And I hope your flight in was great.
Yeah, it was fine.
All right, glad to hear it. All right, so let me give a little bit of introduction about our guests today and their companies. Raw Fury labels themselves as an unpublisher, focused on people, happiness, and games as an art form. I'd like to say more, but honestly, I couldn't really do justice to the incredible story and journey on their About page. So when you have a chance, I highly recommend checking it out. Some of the games they've published include Norco, Sable, Wolfstride, and of course, what we'll be talking about today, Star Renegades. Next up is our developer, Massive Damage Games. Massive Damage carries the mantra of an indie spirit with big vision, focused on building unique and compelling video game experiences across all platforms. Based out of Toronto, Ken, along with his co-founder and brother, Gary, led their team's success with ambitious indie hits like Halcyon 6 and the aforementioned Star Renegades. I know personally I'm a huge fan of pixel art, and they've done some really incredible artistry with both of their titles. So now that introductions are out of the way, I'd love to get started with our chat. So guys, I would love to hear about the origin stories of your companies and how you came to be.
Wait, how
kick
long?
it right off. Let's go.
Okay, the very super fast version. All right, so we were founded by a gentleman named Jonas Antonsen in January 2015. And Raw Fury came about because a friend of his, a developer, shoulder tapped him and said, hey, I need some advice on releasing the game. I want to publish it. And Jonas took a look at it, thought it was really cool. He was hating his boring desk job at a large Swedish company and was like, cool. How about I just help out in a different way? And that's how Raw Fury was born.
Okay, I'm going to try to make this quick, too. Me and my brother were working at some pretty soul-sucking jobs for the government. We decided to make some apps right when the App Store launched, and did well enough with our apps and little games to get into an accelerator in Montreal. We pitched a game that was basically a location-based version of a zombie apocalypse. It's called Please Stay Calm, and yeah, we raised, I guess, about $500,000 from that, and it launched to pretty good success. Kind of helped build the company up, and then we decided that too was soul-sucking, working on mobile games. So there's a lot. Yeah, it seems to be a pattern here. So we decided to go into hardcore indie console and PC games, and that's where we ended up.
All right.
I always love the origin stories directly from the folks. So I'm going to jump right into it. And Ken, this one's actually going to be for you. You mentioned Halcyon 6. You guys self-published that. And then you decided to go with a publisher, even after some of the success of Halcyon 6, which is a little unusual. Once indies are usually successful, they stay and go, oh, we have to self-publish. So what made you decide for Star Renegades to go look for a publisher?
I think for us, we were, there was a bit of a history with how the Star Renegades game kind of came to be. So we were looking for a little bit more funding that we were able to scrounge up by ourselves. And we wanted to find a partner that would be able to help us get to a next level of success that we weren't able to with the previous game, Halcyon 6. And that's how I came across David and Raw Fury.
So we're going to jump into when you first met in a minute, but I want to talk about, because I know this part of the story and the audience probably doesn't. When did you first pitch Star Renegades to people? And then when did you finally get, oh, we're interested in signing this? How long was that time, and how much did that pitch change?
Well, I still have PTSD from that time period, so I'm not sure if I can be super accurate with the timing. We were brainstorming this game idea probably with a little too much tequila at a company retreat in the north. Maybe a few other things that helped brainstorm things, but we came up with a Akira-inspired motorcycle combat game in space, and that was the original concept for Star Renegades. And it was very difficult to make a game like that actually work, and it was turn-based combat as well, which is weird. And then you're trying to do momentum and speed. Sorry, I still need some therapy.
Afterwards, I want to find out what it was that you were else having, because that's a pretty damn good.
He stole my comment. We'll talk privately later, Ken. Yeah, actually, so this game that Ken's talking about kind of ties into how we met. So GDC 2018 comes around, and Ken is asking someone at Raw Fury to meet and take a look at his game. And I was a huge Halcyon 6 fan, and also incredibly disappointed that I could not take the meeting at that time. So our CEO did. He took the meeting, and he did not like what he saw.
Shocking.
And, so fast forward to Gamescom 2018, and Ken has reached out again, and this time I have the chance to meet him, so I'm very excited and kind of fanboying out a little bit. But also, I'm like, didn't we look at this game at GDC? And he was like, yeah, it's the same name, but it's a totally different game. And I talked to Jonas, and I said, hey, Jonas, he's got the Star Renegades. He goes, you don't want to see that, sucks. But I wanted to meet Ken anyways, and Ken was assuring me that it was a very different game. And it's the Star Renegades that we kind of know today, a much earlier version of it. They just kept the same name. It's a cool,
just to be extra confusing.
It's a cool name, though. I'm like, of course, why would you get rid of it? So, yeah, totally different project, same name.
Okay, so now I'm going to dig into what was that meeting like then, especially after you'd had one no, and what was that first meeting like? I want to hear this.
Who's been to Gamescom? Can you get a show of hands? It's a wild show, right? Okay. So I was really tired on this particular day that I'm supposed to meet Ken. We were in the business area of Gamescom and had like a little tiny booth in a PR agencies like kind of area. And so Ken shows up, and we're running press meetings, and also I'm taking pitch meetings simultaneously. So it's like put the press in the room and then take the pitch right here. So I'm trying to juggle all this. So Ken shows up, and I think he's a reporter. So I'm like, why don't you just go into this room, right? And he's very friendly. So he's like, okay, cool. So he goes in the room, and he starts getting a presentation for a game that we're publishing at the time. And about 10 minutes later, he pops out, and he goes, hey, I think I'm in the wrong place. I'm supposed to show you a game. And my face just went red, like completely. I was so embarrassed. So that's how we met. It's the very first time.
Start of a beautiful relationship.
Yeah. We smoothed it over. It was cool. And the pitch was amazing. So.
Yeah, so then if I can ask, what changed from, obviously you didn't get to see that first initial pitch, but what was it about the new pitch that really drew you into Star Renegades and Massive Damage?
I mean, so growing up, I was a personal, huge JRPG fan, and Star Renegades certainly has those elements. It's not a JRPG, but the turn-based combat and the way that it looks, certainly evokes that era. of games back then. So right away, I was enamored with its presentation. Brian, their pixel artist, is incredibly talented. You've probably seen his stuff floating around on Twitter. So the look of it drew me in instantly, but then it was really like this mesh of mechanics that worked so incredibly well. Like, Ken, you described your first project, and it also was a bunch of different mechanics put together, but that one wasn't as cohesive, right? But Star Renegades certainly was. So yeah, it had the beauty and the bronze. Yeah.
So Ken, I want to dig a little bit more into that pitch, especially after pitching Jonas and getting the, I wouldn't say negative feedback, but that we're not interested. Did he give you a bunch of feedback about what he thought needed to be changed, or it just was, no, we're not interested?
I think the demo wasn't quite really ready to be shown yet. It was a very tricky concept to kind of make a game out of, and I think you could tell that we were still in the middle of trying to actually figure it out. I'm going to say that we're probably never going to figure that out, so just safe to say that.
You're not telling anybody that.
No, we got a lot of different feedback. Some people just said, okay, like the inspiration and where you're trying to go with it is kind of interesting, but the loop is just not there, and the combat was very confusing and hard to kind of do speed in turn-based combat effectively, at least the way we were trying to do it. And yeah, we just made the tough call. We had worked on this for about I guess would be maybe about 6 to 8 months, and we just sat down and decided, okay, I don't think we're going to figure this out within any reasonable time frame that makes sense for us. It's possible we could figure this out, but we decided to just kill it and work on something else.
So that's interesting. So the call to kill it, how painful was that? Especially because you'd spent time and money on it already.
Yeah, it's always painful to, it's, what's that?
Kill your darlings?
Yeah, I mean, never fall in love with your ideas. I mean, I think, it's very difficult to kill something that you spent time on, and, everybody's morale takes a hit because everybody's worked hard on the demo and, more or less believed in the vision that we would get there eventually. So, but, you have to make decisions that are for the good for the studio, not just for various people's egos and what they wish would happen versus what's actually realistic.
So I'm going to use my actual economics degree. The sunk cost principle is what most people get stuck up on, is that I've already put money into it, let's throw more money into it. So, and I know most people, businesses, studios all have that problem. So how many publishers, investors, people did you meet at that Gamescom? And how much interest did you get?
Yeah, Ken. How many?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we chatted with probably about 6 different ones. Mm-hmm.
So you said 60, right? 60?
No, we were trying to be pretty picky about who we wanted to work with. So out of the 6 that we were chatting with, we were trying to decide between about 4 different offers.
Okay. And David, he's looking like you just cheated on him. So
everyone has a past, and I'm totally cool with it.
So Lily's got a question, but right before we get to that, so after Gamescom, how many of the folks that you met with reached out and wanted to continue the conversations?
But 4 of them.
So four of them, and then David, how did you go about that approach? How did you guys go about wooing them, knowing that they probably had other people interested?
I mean,
Did you get him flowers?
I did not get him flowers. We definitely got some drinks. No, I think, when you're competing for other titles and you know that you have publishers that are also bidding, you just have to put your best foot forward and try to differentiate what makes your company and outfit the best. So we're not trying to outmuscle people with money or anything like that. I mean,
you did fly me to Sweden in the middle of a snowstorm.
But we...
There's some dirt coming out here. I'm liking this.
It's true. But for every publisher that we signed before the pandemic, we would fly them out to Sweden so that we could actually spend time with them, get to know them. There are things that you
Did you make them drink with Jonas?
No, that's dangerous. That's a really bad idea. He's Icelandic, so you don't want to.
I did get food poisoning though, so that.
That I didn't know about. Oh no.
Just ask Jonas.
Yeah, but yeah, in the pre-pandemic days, we would fly people out to Stockholm to get to know them, because there's when you're at conventions and you're on Zooms, It's of course very professional as it should be, but these are also very complex personal relationships, right? Like we were partnered up for almost 3 years. It was quite a long time from when the ink was dry on the contract until we released the game. And it changed a lot of the time. It changed all the way throughout development.
And just to be clear, I didn't sign with them just because we got a free trip to snowy Sweden.
Yeah, it's not hospitable.
The food poisoning didn't sell you on the deal?
Yeah.
That did not. That was not the closer. So I'm just gonna say a couple nice things about these guys here, Rafiri and David in particular. But we, of all the offers we were entertaining, Rafiri definitely had the most transparent agreement, and we actually spent a day walking through line by line of their publishing agreement, so we could address every single clause and every single term, and whatever questions that came up.
I'll say really quick, that is also another reason to meet in person, because trying to do those on a 2-hour Zoom call, that's tough.
It's not great, yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, yeah, so that leads into my next question. I was going to ask about that process of getting signed, and were there any specific roadblocks that hit you up? Were there points where you were like, this is going to take longer, this is a difficulty to get us signed? What was the interest to signing that contract?
I think for us, there wasn't really any hiccups. Like I said, we just had to make a choice between who we're working with, and I'm, knowing that we're going to be going into a very close business relationship. You're basically getting married to these people. So.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We almost wore matching shirts today.
Yeah.
We found that out today.
So I've definitely dismissed companies based on just their guy is kind of weird, and I don't think we're meshing here. So I mean, David's weird, but it's a good kind of weird for us. But yeah, you're going to be dealing with them all the time. So if you're getting strange vibes or awkwardness already, that's definitely not something you want to be signing on to, because that's 3 years of awkwardness coming at you.
So, yeah, David, he's given you a glowing recommendation. Did Ken give you any difficulties during the signing process?
No, I mean, yeah, every relationship is different with every single developer. Some developers, want constant feedback, which is fantastic, and others want to just be left alone to, do what they want to do, and we're also okay with that too. I'd say our relationship with Massive Damage and with Ken in particular was very honest from the beginning. During the development of Star Renegades, it went through some tremendous changes that we felt were very positive. So we were happy to continue to fund the game. We blew by that original delivery date, but we were very happy with what they were creating, and we were even more happy just to be a part of that process a tiny bit. So no, I mean, I'm not trying to sound like I'm blowing smoke up his butt or something, but no, it was pretty amicable. I'm not saying that there weren't any difficulties, because no relationship is perfect. And if, when you approach this conversation about hey, we need to delay the game a little bit and we need some more money, we're just very pragmatic about it, and we're very open and honest about it with each other. And I think that goes a really long way. And we were lucky to have that with Ken and Gary and the rest of their team.
Oh, that's awesome. So I was hoping there'd be a little animosity during the contract process to talk about, because it would have made it a little juicier.
We want the drama. Come on.
But so we did touch on something that usually creates a lot of drama, right? A little bit more time and a little bit more money. How did you both approach that? Ken, how did you approach them? How soon did you mention that before? Was it before a milestone? Was it when did that take
I think it was maybe a month and a half, and it's we need more money. No, what happened was, and this comes back to you have to be, at least the way our studio works is we always are always iterating. There's no, we never think we have the final solution, the perfect idea right from the get-go. So while we pitched Rafiri, the original Star Renegades, which was 2D flat pixel art, me and my brother, we decided that we need to really bring something a little bit different and new to the table, and we started experimenting. We got our artists to do a bit of experiments with 3D effects and kind of layering into a 3D background, so that just so we what do we end up calling it, 2DX or something? Yeah, and We actually had a lot of internal pushback on that, just because it was going to take more time, and we had to convince Brian that this was actually the way to go. He really liked the clean, pure 2D look, and so that was a bit of internal struggle to kind of push through that. But we pitched that to Raw Fury, and they saw the samples we did and decided that this was the way to go.
Yeah, it was a monumental change aesthetically, and it made the game stand out even more. Of course, on our side, it was a little bit of a troubling, only because we had set marketing plans in place. We're going to go to reveal this thing at that time and this other thing at that other time, and all of a sudden these things have to be like, oh, actually we're just going to go dark for a long time now as we integrate the new 2DX aesthetic into the game. And in the end, it was totally cool and worth it, and we were on board. Of course, so we went and did that, and ultimately it worked out, and it was super cool.
So we're gonna do one quick wrap-up question. We're gonna let questions from the audience, because I'm sure they have a ton. Otherwise, I think we could probably be up here for a few hours, because I'd dig into a lot more. So quickly, Ken, David. So David first, when a developer's preparing to send you a pitch or pitch you, what is just like the one thing that you wish they knew when they're about to pitch you?
Oh my goodness, that's such a broad question. So my biggest thing, actually, this is a recent example. So we had a developer pitch us, and we have a lot of pitches come in, and it's really difficult to get through all of them in a timely manner, and we're working on that, but it's tough. And this person reached out like a month later and said that they were waiting for our response before they started approaching other publishers. So my advice to that is to not ever do that. You should be talking to as many people as possible. You should be swiping right. You should be in everyone's inboxes. You should be at these events and networking, and you should be pitching 50 people or something like that. Don't wait. Don't wait on your maybe your ideal publisher. I don't know if we were the ideal publisher, but they were waiting for an answer from us before they went to others. So don't do that. Please talk to as many people as possible.
Yeah, and you need to be able to compare the agreements in real time as well.
It's to your advantage to have multiple offers. All right, yeah, so everyone, thank you for your questions so far. Like Justin said, we'll have a few more minutes for questions at the very end. But before we kind of wrap up and close the session, I want to talk a little bit about the tools at Xsolla Funding Club, and that will help you match with that investor or publisher of your dreams. Oftentimes, finding the right tools to reach these investors we know can be really, really overwhelming. So at Xsolla, we really help provide those resources in order to get it done and meet the right person for you. In addition to a lot of ebooks and articles and talks that we've done on this subject, we have a variety of different platforms available to help you matchmake with developers and publishers and just general investors. First up, we have our bread and butter, which is Xsolla Funding Club. Our no-cost matchmaking system allows investors and publishers to reach out to any developers on the platform for one-on-one deals and to talk, shop, and negotiate. We vet every single game that comes through the platform so that you're always among the cream of the crop. And we also offer feedback for anybody who we feel maybe needs to apply later on in their development journey, but that we see potential in. If you're interested in a more traditional publisher deal with just one primary investor, this is the perfect place for you to go and to show off your game to different developers and publishers. Next up, we have our recently launched game investment platform. For those developers that are interested in the possibility of co-investment but may be afraid of all the financial and legal hardship that goes into dealing with multiple sources of funding, we found a way to help make that experience stress-free. If your game receives full funding from multiple investors on the platform, we handle all the legal payouts so that it's an easy process for you and you can continue and focus on making your game. If you're interested in finding out more about any of those platforms, we highly encourage you to check out our website at xsolla.pro/funding. Thank you all so much for coming. Like I said, we're going to get a few more questions for that, but I really hope to see you and all of your games on the platform.